Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Gaming News at Noon with Salty Boom. And you know what? Wednesdays are not the same anymore because this is one of my favorite shows to do simply because I get to spend 90 minutes hanging out with Salty from Saltiest Gaming. Welcome, dude. How the hell you been?
Good. I was listening to Queen this morning. I don't know if you're a big fan or not, but
I love
man,
Queen, yes.
just get you in that mood to just get going and be excited for the day. You know, talk about gaming. It's an exciting time for gaming. Let's just be honest. We got lots and lots of great topics. I'm just happy to be able to talk about games as much as I do because it's a passion of mine, and I appreciate everybody in the chat, and I appreciate you, Boom, and let's get going, man. Let's do this.
Well, you know what? Yesterday, we're going to open up the show with the big news. Obviously, Google was at GDC in a big way. And you had a live stream, which was extremely successful. So good for that. Great for the channel. There's a lot to get into, and I don't want to spend too much time on this topic because, this is a news program and we have almost a dozen topics to get through in 90 minutes. But I want to get your take on what Google brought to the table. And, and then I'll give my idea of what they did, what they didn't do. What were your takeaways from Google's presentation yesterday?
Well, first and foremost, I just thought that they did an outstanding job presenting their product. And I think they did a good job actually hiding some of the things that they had to offer, because a lot of the things that were coming out didn't come true, like an actual hardware piece. The hardware that they showed was the controller with Wi-Fi support, which was unique in itself, but there wasn't an actual physical console, and some people were predicting that was going to be the case. I just like how things were under wraps for them, and then they had an idea for this product, how to get it out, and then they approached it in the manner that they wanted to. We've talked about Microsoft before, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but Microsoft needs to improve in the area of publications and publicity and messaging and everything like that. So, for example, if you compare the two approaches, Microsoft used Inside Xbox, which is not seen by pretty much anybody, and then they revealed xCloud or whatever. And it just didn't come off well. People were questioning whether or not the lady was playing it. And then you could compare that with the Google reveal. They used GDC, a huge conference, had this huge presentation, and it went off very well, in my opinion. So that was good. I think that they know what they want to do in the industry, and they're doing it. And I think they actually beat Microsoft to the punch in many ways, if that makes sense. Boom.
Yeah, it does make sense. And, again, not to jump on the Microsoft beat the horse bandwagon, but, you really have to compare apples to apples, right? I mean, if we're looking at the crop in front of us, we know that right now Sony's growing theirs, right? And we know that Microsoft has big plans, and we saw a little bit of it. But Google got out in front, and they threw a lot of numbers at us. One of the things, I'm going to be honest with you, I thought was extremely impressive was even though there was a tad, and I mean tad, of lag, the guy that they called up on stage, and he went from device to device to device. He went from tablet to PC to phone. I thought it was impressive. It was, yeah, sure. I understand they show, people are like, my God, he pressed the button 3 times. It sucks. But that's not, in fact, the case. You know what I'm saying? It was a live on stage demonstration of going from one device to the other without missing a beat. What were your takeaways on that, Salty?
Here's the thing: when you're presenting this, I think it kind of goes along the lines of showing off VR. It's not that bad, but I don't know how well it translates to the public with playing on a screen. Then you're looking at a screen from a stream. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of go through there,
exactly,
instead of actually just seeing it. Like, I would like to see like the Digital Foundries of the world get their hands on this product and tell me actual numbers. Like, this is the amount of milliseconds of lag, which we don't even have that at this point, and it's not a full product at this point. So to judge it and say, hey, this is going to be a laggy mess is just kind of putting the horse before the carriage at this point. I mean, the carriage before the horse.
Yes.
It's just, you gotta just take this with a grain of salt. #grain of salt. It's just, you gotta wait. I know it's just, this is a GDC gamer, game developers conference. This isn't like, hey, this is E3, this is a finished product. Here, gamers, take a look at it. This is just like, hey, we're trying to get people on board with this, especially developers, and move this product. So that's my take on it. I'm not going to take too much from it. I thought it was cool that the guy was going from one to another to another. That kind of just, put the focal point on saying, hey, you could start here and pick up here and pick up here. I thought that was impressive,
Okay, well, you know what? I mean, like I said, there were a lot of things that were impressive. Me personally, I guess there are a couple of disappointments for me. One, maybe because I'm the old dinosaur, okay, and I get it. That I was under the impression that we were going to get a piece of hardware. Turns out that I was completely wrong. And even though I'm perfectly okay with that, I'm absolutely okay with that. There's no box to buy. You have to drop 5, because we know when they brought up the stats, right? And they said, okay, PS4 Pro, 4 teraflops. Xbox One, 6 teraflops. Our thing has over 12 teraflops. So I was expecting, okay, now they're going to show hardware. It turns out that 12, almost 13 teraflops is in the cloud. Now, I'm not a tech dude like that where I can start breaking down logistics. I'm just a gamer. I want to pick up my controller and play. So I don't know how that's going to translate into the actual game, playing the games itself. But there comes, a lot of unanswered questions. As many questions as there were answered, there were a lot of questions that were stepped over. How much is this service going to be? Is it $10? Is it 20? Is it 30 a month? How are we going to buy the games? Now, it's safe to assume, right? You say, what happens when you assume that you're going to probably get the games in the Google Play Store, right? That makes sense. So, I mean, the small questions like that, we know it's coming out in 2019. Some big news, right? 4K 60 actually really surprised me. And I wanted to get your take on that, because I've been very public about saying that hardware isn't going anywhere, and I believe that. I don't think we're losing hardware for 25 years. I think I'm going to be in an old age home before hardware completely removes itself from the equation. But what were your takes on the possibility of 4K 60, and is that something that they're talking about in the future, or is that something at launch?
All right, so there's a lot of things to dissect and unpack here. So you were talking about the unknowns, and I actually have a list of things that just weren't approached here. They didn't talk about required internet speeds for this. They didn't give pricing. They didn't talk about specific games. They didn't give her a specific release date. All we know right now is just overall it's a video streaming service. And then you're talking about the tech side of it. They're approaching it with a custom built GPU. That's the way they're doing it. Microsoft has a different way of doing it, where they have a bunch of, a server room of Xbox One S's to handle it. So the tech side is a little bit different. The thing that's impressive is there's a lot of things that stood out to me, but they were talking about the 1080 60 for some games, and then the 4K 60, and then eventually 8K 120 frames per second. And that just blew my mind, because I know that, like on RDX, they're saying this is the best case scenario, but let's be honest, that's what they do in these conferences. They're not going to shovel out the worst case scenario. Could you imagine how that would go over? Hey, this is going to be extremely laggy. This service sucks. Don't buy it. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to do that, right? So, it's best case scenario, obviously, because they're just, like I said, it's a game developers conference. They're trying to sell their product. It's not even at full release yet. But yeah, if they can do that, that's amazing. But then you have to deal with data caps, the poor.
Yeah, that's going to be a concern.
The poor internet infrastructure across the United States. 5G is being rolled out, but how long will that take? There's just a lot of unknowns. But the positives and the implications, I think, outweigh by far what the question marks are, because the fact that you can do some of the shit that they were showing, that's just like futuristic, in my opinion. Like, you could be watching a video on YouTube, a guy's playing a video game, right, through the service, and even not through the service, there's a link that comes up. You like the game, you click on it, you start playing it. There's no downloads, there's no updates. you click on that link, you're playing the game. Like that just boggles my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like how that works. So if you're watching Assassin's Creed Odyssey, MrBooMStick's playing it on YouTube. I want to play it. If I click the link, I'm playing it. You know what I'm saying? If I have the service.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and then the feature where you can actually queue up with your favorite content creator if they have that enabled on their YouTube. Because being a content creator, it's exciting for me because I love the interaction with people that come into the stream. So this is perfect for people like that. You can play with people that your subs, right? They come in, you're playing a game that has multiplayer. They queue up, boom, they play. They don't have to join a party. They don't have to do this and that. They're just there. So these things they're unique, and I like that in technology. Brand new things.
Well, I mean, I got news for you. That's actually one of the very unique and different things that were immediately, apparent for press this button and you're going right here. What about it when you were stuck? You wanted like some video of something. You could logistically watch the video of the exact place where you are. I don't know how the system is able to do that, but it's mind-boggling to think that if you want to, because what do you usually do if you're a gamer, right? Like me, what I do is if I'm playing like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I usually will give it about 5 or 10 shots before I'm like, man, I'm frustrated, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll pick up my phone, I'll grab my tablet, I'll sit it alongside of me. This is gonna be right on your screen. Yep. You're going to watch it in action, and then you're going to be able to go and do it. I do it. I got to tell you, I was impressed. I walked away very impressed. First of all, I have to say a big thank you to 2 people. Cree Ross with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, Google has the advantage because of Stadia's YouTube interaction. Yes, that is correct. YouTube is already on the device of the 2 billion gamers that everyone is targeting. Yeah, dude, that's a great, really, really fantastic point. And Scrub Nurse, big fan of the show, and I'm a big fan of theirs. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. They say hardware is done. Stadia's teraflops is greater than PS4 Pro and Xbox One combined. The show was very cool, but left many questions. Yes, and I'm right there with you. I agree. But you know what? I saved this for last. Because it's a bit of a negative for me. I'm impressed with what we saw, and I'm going to be on board now. Here's the thing: I don't necessarily know if it's a service I'm going to use every day, simply because I already use 3. Right? Like I don't throw PC in it because I don't play PC games. So I have 3 consoles that I support. And if Google has an exclusive that I can't get anywhere else, then I'll probably play it. That would be my draw to it, just like it does for the PS4 and the Switch. I'm drawn to those consoles for their amazing exclusives, and we talk about this all the time. Exclusives do matter, Salty. But the one thing that I want to talk about that that I came away disappointed was the controller. Now I know it wasn't that horrendous thing that we saw, but I'm going to be honest. I dislike the DualShock 4 terribly. I think it's a terrible controller. I think that it's passable. Yes. Is it better than the DualShock 3? 10 times over, but I'm still not a fan. I like my sticks in the locations where the Xbox has them, right? Or if you pick up like a Pro controller for the Nintendo Switch, it's like playing with an Xbox One controller. And what were your takeaways from the design of the controller? Something that you were like, whatever.
So the original leak of that concept, it looked a lot sharper and shinier. The actual controller looks like it's a mashup between the DualShock and then the Switch Pro controller. That would be. It's just like a marriage between those two, and I could kind of see where they were coming from. The people at Google probably saw the market leader, which is PlayStation right now, and they just said, "Hey, let's use that design because that's what's popular right now." Honestly, if you took a poll from people, I'm pretty sure they'd all say that the Xbox controller is the best when it comes to ergonomics and everything else. So I'm not sure why they didn't just use the Xbox design, but at the same time, I would have to get it in my hands to see how it plays and how it feels. for extended play periods, because that's the bottom line. Like, if you aren't comfortable playing for extended periods of time using your controller, you're not going to want to play. Like, you don't want to play if you're experiencing pain and discomfort. That's just not something you want, right?
Yes.
So if they didn't, make it correctly, that's not going to be good, because, to my knowledge, you need this controller to play the service, or to make it easier to play it. Because I didn't hear them say that you can use other controllers or inputs. I'm sure you're going to be able to use mouse and keyboard if it's on computer, but it's weird. I like the Wi-Fi aspect of it, because that feature hasn't really been done on controllers. I had this argument last night on Sea of Thieves with Titan Drago and Ashtray. They're like, yeah, this has already been done before, this Wi-Fi situation. And I'm like, no, like, true Wi-Fi in a controller hasn't been done. Like, Bluetooth has been done. And they're like, no. And we went back and forth. They caught the L, long story short. And then, because Phil Spencer even addressed it. Like, he talked about things that he didn't see coming. He was like, this YouTube situation, the support there. He was talking about that was a surprise in the controller with Wi-Fi. He mentioned that specifically. So, I don't know, man. I'd have to get it in my hands to tell you, if it's good or not. But
well, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, they went up there, they spent an hour, they brought up a few people, they showed a few games, they answered a lot of questions, some of the looming ones: price, actual release date, what games, because obviously they're going to have their own exclusives. They hired Jade Raymond to run a studio. I've said this before. And I think they're gonna start acquiring other people. There are some big industry names still out there that they could bring in. Amy Hennig, for instance, said she was going to be there. I don't know. She just opened up her own studio, so I don't know if it's something that she's going to want to sign with somebody after what happened with her. Leaving Naughty Dog and then going to EA and then getting released, and but needless to say. Look, at the end of the day, what yesterday's conference told me, Salty, that gaming is big business and people are real serious about it. And the ideology that people are holding on to with this closed walled garden that they live in have to understand that times are changing. And gaming is a multi-billion-dollar business. Everybody wants a piece, obviously. And you know what? If the thing, streaming is a big deal. It's a big deal now. It's gonna be a bigger deal 2 years from now. It's gonna be a bigger deal 10 years from now. It's not going away. I think we're always gonna have, like I said earlier in the segment, we're always gonna have traditional hardware. Until I see it with my own eyes, I don't see streaming getting 4K 60, simply because the internet, especially in this country, I mean, we're 10th, for crying out loud. So, you have to have proper internet to be able to get those speeds. But you know what? Let's move on to the next topic, because we did almost 20 minutes, and I figured we would open the show strong. This is a great topic for Sony fans. It's a great topic for Boom, because I have a PS4 Pro. I enjoy it. EA Access for the PS4 the leak has been spotted on a Brazilian PSN store, and this is more proof that Jordan Layden's recent press tour is revealing Sony's very different future in attempt to ease fans into the new and very different PlayStation ecosystem that's going to start next generation. Now, if you're an Xbox One gamer and you like EA games, chances are you've tried, or you currently are a member of EA Access. It's a subscription-based service. It's $5 a month, which doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not. But the real winner is when you spend $30. You buy the year for $30. It comes out to like $3 and change per month. It is unbelievable deal. That right now there's over 70 titles. Hear that, folks? 70 titles in the vault. And that is a big deal for that price point. My question to you, Salty, what is your take that Sony is finally going to allow EA Access onto the platform after almost 5 years?
Well, it signifies change within the company. I believe, like you were saying, Sean Layden talking about new things within that interview. You thought it was Phil Spencer speaking. It just,
Yes.
times are changing. And I think that EA has added value to that service because when it started, it was a lot thinner with the product. Let's be honest.
Yes, it
So
was.
when PlayStation came out and said it wasn't enough value for the consumer base, you could kind of see what they were talking about, but at the same time, you can kind of tell that they were blowing smoke up your butt. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's been a great service since the get-go for Xbox, to be honest. And I think it's been a good partnership with them because they have a great relationship with EA. I think this is going to do wonders with the relationship with EA and PlayStation. So we'll see what happens with that, because these deals get done behind the scenes and then other things come from them. So I don't know what kind of marketing deals are going to come out of this, because, Microsoft has a really good relationship. So a lot of EA titles have, marketing deals have been made between Microsoft and EA. The latest was Anthem, right? They had a marketing deal for that. So I don't know how that's going to change things, but I don't think that that's too important. I think it's just a great thing for all, the 100 million plus consoles that are out there. They're going to have the ability to partake in this subscription-based service, EA Access, get early access to titles which they didn't have the access before. And I think a lot of salty people were out there because you have early access via EA Access to play certain games at launch or get discounts and all this other stuff. I think it's just an option, and options are good. Like we say a lot in the gaming podcast world, options are always a good thing. So I think this is good for all those PlayStation gamers out there,
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things, and you actually hit the nail right on the head. Getting to play the game 5 days earlier is a big deal. What's even a bigger deal is getting 10 hours to play a game that you can, because gaming is expensive, Salty, right? I mean, you and I talk about this all the time. You have another, child on the way. Everyone has their own ups and downs when it comes to finance with their family, and unfortunately, we can't buy every game that comes out. I know Boom buys everything is the hashtag. I have to sometimes, as much as I want to buy everything, on a fixed income, you have to pick and choose your battles, right? This service does not get enough credit. I know EA, they're the corporate monsters, and they're the dark side, and they put themselves in that position. There's no doubt about it. But no one really talks about the value of this service. And if you're like for instance, let's say for instance you are a Call of Duty guy or gal, and you like, Battlefield 7, whenever that comes out. I'm interested because I love Call of Duty and I hear so many good things about Battlefield. Let me try it out. You can play 10 hours of the multiplayer and single player before, as a trial 5 days before the game comes out, and you instantly know whether you're going to want to buy the game. And if you do decide to buy the game on the service, you're gonna save 10%. On the game and all DLC. I mean, that, again, there's added value left and right. I think that if you don't have EA Access, I highly recommend it for the Xbox One right now. And I got news for you. When it comes to the PS4, you rest assured that Boom will be spending $30 a year to get that on the platform as well, because the value of games is just ridiculous. But let's move on to the next topic, and it's a big one. It's one of my favorite characters in gaming. The next big Sonic the Hedgehog game is in development, and that's a good thing. Sonic, to me anyway, in my opinion, is as important to gaming as Mario, Master Chief, or anyone you want to add to the Sony list. Kratos, Aloy, anybody, Nathan Drake. I think that Sonic is important. The fact that he's still around in today's era still blows my mind, because you know how trends are, right? Salty, things come and go, characters come and go. Sonic just seems to keep holding on, even though there's been some times they're on the ropes. He figures a way out. During the South by Southwest panel that happened a couple of days ago, the Sonic team made a flurry of announcements regarding its Blue Hedgehog, and the biggest of which was the next mainline Sonic game is already in development. And that comes on the heels of the announcement that we have a new Sonic Racing. It's called Team Sonic Racing, and they showed off the customization of the vehicles as well as some racing around the track and some incredible music. I sent you the video. Let me tell you something, Salty. Team Sonic is scheduled to launch May 21st. It's coming out on the Switch, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and of course Windows PC. And it will be actually it's gonna be accompanied by a tie-in animated series called Team Sonic Racing Overdrive, which I think is good for the kids. Salty, after seeing the video that I sent you and knowing you are a Mario Kart fan, I know you play a lot of the Switch with your daughter. And I think that's awesome. I think that father-daughter time is you never make that up. Is Sonic Team Racing something you're going to get day one? And if you are you going to get it for the Switch for the portability?
Portability is always key for me, honestly. Like, this type of game, I think, is kind of made for that. For me, like, if I have the ability to buy a game on the Switch and it's going to play well, as opposed to buying it on my Xbox, I'm probably going to pick my Switch just for the fact that I have a lot of different options, right? Like, I can play it on my TV, I can play it on the go. You could use both of the controllers with my kid. So yeah, in that respect, I definitely would pick it up on the Nintendo Switch. Honestly, that's just my opinion. But here's the deal: like, when you eat the best steak, right? You go to a really good steak. You know where I'm going from?
Yes,
right
I
now,
do.
Right? Okay, so you go to a really good steak restaurant. Aged beef, boom, boom, boom. You eat it; it melts in your mouth. You're like, holy shit, that's really good, right? And then you eat a really good steak, but it's not the best. You're like, I mean, that was good, but it's not like up to the standard. So here's the deal. Mario Kart is the top of the top, right? It's right. My thing. I just love it. And I'm just not really a Team Sonic Racing fan, but that doesn't mean that I won't try it. You know what I'm saying? Because my kid loves video games at this point, and if she likes it, hell, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna play with her. So I'll probably show her a video of it and see if she likes it. If she does, we'll go that route. But Mario Kart is the best of the best, right? That's the best steak at the restaurant.
Yes,
I've tried it already, and that's my preference. That's just opinion. It's all subjective. But boom. Breaking news, man. This is off topic, but Cuphead confirmed to be going to the Nintendo Switch next month.
Dude, that's wow. All right,
crazy,
well,
right?
What we'll do is we'll put Team Sonic to bed.
Yeah, let's put that to the side.
Yeah, because that we
that's
know
breaking news, man.
Right, yeah. Right. But we love breaking. This is a news program. Thank you for that. Take it away, Salty. I mean, in your opinion, first of all, the studio behind this is a small mom and pop. They're a mom and pop studio, right? They have their the husband and the wife are doing this, the brother-in-law is doing this, the sister-in-law is doing this, their friends are doing this. This is what they accomplished is what the American dream is all about, right? Starting small, aiming big, and hitting a grand slam. And the more people that play, I know you and I both know who's already triggered by this. We're not going to mention names, right? We've already gone to toe to toe, both of us, with some people in the community that don't like this idea. I am a champion for this idea. Why? Because the developer wins.
Yep.
Okay. We have to think about the developer. We have to take off this, open up the door and understand that gaming is a business. And people need to make money. This is a big deal. This could potentially, Salty, and I'm gonna give it back to you in a second, be bigger on the Switch than it was on the Xbox.
Without a doubt, man. This is perfect, man. I've been talking about this for a while. It's weird, man. Call me Nostradamus or whatever you want to call me. All right, like, just check the tapes, folks. I was saying, man, this would be perfect on the Switch. Boom, you're getting it on the Switch. Let's be honest. Whatever deal they have behind the scenes with Xbox, it launched day and date on PC as well, right? I think it was on Steam.
Yeah, yes, it was same day.
Okay,
yes.
So the way that works out, I don't know what the whole contract is, but the fact that it released on Steam kind of gives you an idea that it was going to be going other places. I doubt it will go to PlayStation, just for the fact that they're not really playing ball at this point, to the point where it's just they have that relationship that Nintendo and Xbox is having. When they, like I said before, when they made that deal for crossplay and they made that ad together, like survived together and did the Minecraft shit, and they're putting Mario on Minecraft. A lot of people didn't realize the importance of that. That's breaking down the barriers, that's forming bridges, and once you do that, that's just like there's a partnership business wise going back and forth. So it's an exchange of, hey, we give you this, you give us that, and we'll both prosper from the situation. So Cuphead is going to be amazing on the Switch. I think it's perfect, man. I played and beat that game on the Xbox, but I'm going to buy it again on the Switch because me too. I love that title, man. I'm a sucker for art because I did, drew a lot growing up. I almost had aspirations to work for Disney and stuff like that. I had portfolio and all this other stuff. So I appreciate that side of things, the artwork, the time and effort, the hand-drawn nature of the game, the music, the unique gameplay. I think it's awesome. Plus, we got DLC coming out, and that's going to generate buzz for the game all the same, and it's just going to sell like gangbusters on the Switch. I don't even know how many copies this will sell, but it's going to be, I don't know, man. I could honestly say that it's going to be in the millions. I think this will sell like at least 1 million on the Switch, right? That's a low number, I think.
I do.
And you think about that, what that does for the studio itself. What that's going to do is it's going to be able to fund future projects. It's going to be able to let them hire people and expand the studio, which I think is great because Studio MDHR, I think they have great potential. And I'd love to see a Cuphead 2. And how do you get a Cuphead 2? You
sell the hell out of Cuphead, right? 1.
Yeah. You get more money and then you make a Cuphead 2, right? And you'll be able to get that out faster because they, you know what I'm saying? Like it was in the development stage, and that's what kind of took the long time, the development time. But this is phenomenal, man. This is great news.
Big news.
And this is one of the rumors that was going to be released as an actual port over to the Switch. And I think Ori is going to be next, right? So we'll see what happens with that and when that's announced. But I don't know. What do you think, Boom?
Well, I mean, look, I mean, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that some people know. If you're in the chat, you probably know what I'm talking about. But you have to remember, when they released the vid docs of these fine folks at MDHR, they mortgaged their homes, folks. You know what I'm saying, to get this game done. Now, I know that may not be a big deal for the person that only cares about themselves, but that's a big deal for me as a gamer because they were so confident that this product was going to be something special. They took a chance of losing their homes, folks, and they didn't. The Cuphead came out. It was a raging success. I never finished it. I barely got off the first island. A lot of games came out, but to be honest with you, the difficulty was, I guess maybe I'm not the same Boom from 78. I don't know, but all I can tell you is that it was hard as balls. But graphically, it was gorgeous. The story was amazing. The music was out of this world. And to think now, the one thing about Nintendo Switch, and we've noticed, especially at mid 2018, and as far as where we are in 2019 now, those fans are starving for content, and not in a way that's discounting what the Switch has done. I mean, it won NPDs again last month, right? So we know that. So people are buying the Switch, but the same Switch people want games. And what did you just say a few seconds ago? You already own it, but you're going to buy it. I already own it. I'm going to buy it. There are a lot of people in this chat that already own it and are going to rebuy it for a lot of reasons. One, the Switch is a great platform for that game. It's perfect. And on top of that, it's my way of saying, okay, here's $30 more to make sure that we get a Cuphead 2, or you guys work on another passion project you guys have they're working on in the background that we don't know about, because we love MDHR and we want you guys to succeed. That's why I'll do it. Is that a good assumption? Is that why you would do it, Salty?
Yeah, man. I can't say this enough. I really think that Studio MDHR is very talented. And what you said, the fact that they put their house on the line, that's crazy. I don't think people really realize how crazy that is. You know what I'm saying? You have a passion project. You're not sure that this thing's going to even do well. You're putting years and years and money and time and blood and sweat and tears and sacrificing everything to get your dream off the ground. And dreams take sacrifice.
Yes.
You know? So they took a risk, and you got to take a risk in the business, but it hit, man. And you got to just put props to them. I would be super happy if Microsoft just snatched them up, man. I think that they should go out and acquire Studio MDHR and just keep them under the fold, man. I think that they're talented. I think what they're doing is unique, and I think it would bring you know, a unique addition to the portfolio for Microsoft Studios or Xbox Game Studios or whatever you want to call it now. So I think it's awesome, man.
Yeah, no, it's big, and don't be surprised that an Ori and the Blind Forest announcement doesn't come soon. You know, you got to remember, you got PAX East coming at the 28th, you know, and so that's a possible announcement, and those are going to be published by Microsoft, so they're going to be making some bucks on the end of it. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that MDHR and the company that makes Ori should be the next two purchases for the, because even though they're smaller, you know, I hate when people say, well, they're small indie titles. They're not, you know, it doesn't really matter if they're first party. Well, yeah, it does matter. It's on your platform. Sony thought that way in the beginning. Remember how nice they were to all of the indie devs when they didn't have games. They were like, indies, you're home, welcome. And as soon as they started coming out with games, they were like, indie, get the hell out. Here's your papers. Bye.
Yeah.
But you know what? Speaking of PAX East 2019, Gearbox Studio, the makers of the Borderlands series, are at it again, Salty. They have been very busy leading up to PAX East 2019, which is scheduled to happen on the 20th, well, start on the 28th of March in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, before we get into the story, if you've never been to a PAX East, I have to encourage that you try and go at least one time. I've been to 3. It is an incredible experience. It is a fan event. It is a multiverse version of Xbox Fan Fest. There is cosplay. Every developer you can imagine is there in full force. Some of the developers are walking around talking with fans. A lot of indie stuff. You know, they have a whole section for you know, the you know, tabletop, you know, like D&D and Magic the Gathering play, you know, card playing. It is an incredible event. So if you've never been, I like I said, I encourage you to go, because it's a real fun experience. And Boston is gorgeous, especially this time of year. But you know what? Let's get into the why we're talking about Gearbox. You know, we know, Salty, that they've been talking or teasing Borderlands 3 and a possible new BioShock title. But they went to Twitter again. And this time it says this: time to tease another game for PAX. And they tweet a picture of Duke Nukem standing next to Ishi Sato. And that was a collaboration when they released Bulletstorm, the full clip edition. So I mean, I think it's safe to say that there's two ways to look at this. First of all, if you've never played Bulletstorm, my God, it is fantastic. What a great game. It's safe to assume anyway, Salty, that the Bulletstorm full clip edition is going to be coming to the Switch. Why the hell not? Everything's coming to the Switch. And that's what I got out of this. But then again, I have another theory, Salty, and this second theory is a little bit, some might say a little out there, and I want to get your opinion on it. My opinion is that Gearbox Studio is treating PAX East 2019 like their own personal E3, because they're going to be the biggest one there, from what we understand, and they're going to have a conference. They're going to have big announcements. Could we see a Bulletstorm 2? It did well enough where they did an HD version. It sold well on the 360, on the PS3. It sold well on the you know, when they did the HD versions of it. What are your takes away with all of these teases, and could we see a Bulletstorm 2?
I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't have any experience with Bulletstorm, but you know, when it comes to Gearbox, I think it's a smart move to actually, like, people are saying, like, PAX to do this reveal is not a smart move by
it's
Gearbox.
A very smart move, trust me.
I think it's smart, honestly, because you have the stage to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes,
they have the whole all the eyes are on them, man. And it's not like, hey, we're at E3, we're gonna get shuffled, you know, put under the rug and forgot about with all these other announcements. It's like, hey, use your resources and your time and get the products out and the announcements out that you can, you know. So if they have both of these things on, you know, in the works, and they're going to use PAX as a vessel, I think it's going to be amazing, man. And I've heard a lot of people that do like Bulletstorm. Like I said, I have no experience from it, and I haven't played the game, so I can't really say. But I like Duke Nukem, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, and I don't know. I think it's good for that company, and I think it's going to be good for gamers, you know?
Well, I mean, they have been very quiet. You know, Battleborn was a monster loss for the company financially. It was a big blunder. You know, it released up against Overwatch. We know who the winner of that was. I mean, it wasn't even like a prize fight. That was like the fifth, you know, card before the main event. And, you know, they got taken to town, you know, with Battleborn versus Overwatch. We know what happened. And they've been very quiet. You know, all they've released is a couple of HD ports of older, you know, Gearbox games in the form of Borderlands. In December, they released Borderlands 1 VR, which I want to pick up. I haven't picked up yet because I love VR, and I know some people don't dig it, but that's fine. You know, you said it. They will actually have the entire stage to themselves. And you know what? I mean, don't discount PAX just because it's not a PSX or, you know, or an E3 or Gamescom. It is the PAX panels and the actual events themselves are huge, and they're attended by millions of people. I mean, again, it's a smaller event for sure, but please don't discount that, because every big name media person from all of the IGNs and the Kotakus and the rest of them, the GameSpots and the Giant Bombs, they're all going to be there reporting on what is being announced. So if you have the media going to be there covering the actual event, why wouldn't you want to bring your big guns to an event that you basically have to yourself, Salty?
Yeah, I mean, you got to use your resources and do what you got to do to get the news out there. But I think it's going to be amazing, man. I can't wait. I just Borderlands 3. I think they're going to hit it out the park, man. I think it's going to be amazing for fans, and I can't wait, honestly. You know.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm very excited. But you know what? Let's talk about another hot topic. The first Apex Legends Battle Pass launched yesterday with a new character called Octane, which apparently is very fast. Now, believe it or not, Boom was on a stream yesterday playing Apex Legends. Got a couple of kills. I was actually surprised. I don't play it very much. It's a great game. It's just not a game for Boom. I'm just not a big battle royale kind of guy. I get into it and then I get out of it very quickly. I know you, on the other hand, love Battleborn. The new Battle Pass came out. It was $9.50, 50 cents less than what people are paying for Fortnite. I thought that was kind of cheeky, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? That's just such a Respawn thing to do. Yeah, we're 50 cents cheaper. Go F yourself, you know, Fortnite. But you know what? Respawn Entertainment's fast-growing battle royale game, it basically, Apex Legends came out of nowhere. I said this on numerous shows. I think you've said it as well on your show. How they kept this a secret is literally beyond me in 2019. You know, I know that everyone talks about controlled leaks. You know, a lot of these so-called leaks are controlled, and I get that. But we heard nothing about this game other than, you know, a day before a launch, hey, we're getting something related to Titanfall announcement, and they just exploded on the scene. You know, but the fans, Salty, have spoken when it comes to Apex Legends. Besides the Frontier Pack that was released for the $9.50, we got some numbers to talk about. And I know you're an analytics kind of a guy, right? You are a numbers guy. Numbers are something that shut down people's basically shuts down the conversation when people start to talk about games and using their heart. And I understand that gaming is passionate. Gamers, especially you know, on both sides of the aisle, are very passionate about their box. I get that. But you know, numbers take away all of the nonsense when it comes to who's doing better or what's going to work and what's not going to work. And according to a story that I pulled from comicbook.com, they had 50 million players in less than 30 days since launch. Salty. I mean, that is really, you want to talk about analytics. You want to talk about really blowing the doors off what people would have thought this game would have had. There are some games that have been around for 10 years and don't see that kind of play. What are your takes on the Battle Pass, and more specifically 50 million players in less than 30 days?
I think the Battle Pass is just the way of Battle Royale in general. I think that it started with Fortnite, and then people saw how popular that was and how much money they were making off of it. And it's actually a great model to get content out to the consumer base because of the way it's structured. It awards people for playing the game, and it gives you a reason to play the game, if that makes sense, because you can see what's up in line for you to unlock when it comes to, skins and emotes and whatever they have to offer. And I like it personally. I think it's a great model for this type of game because the repetitive nature of the battle royales, it can be very repetitive if you don't know that rewards are coming. But if you're doing a battle pass, you work towards the next emote or the next skin or this and that, and it helps you want to play the game more. And I think it's outstanding. The price point is funny how they priced it. I think that's just kind of a dig there. The player base is outstanding. They released a new character. I think what's his name, Octane or something like that.
Yeah, Octane's new character. Yes.
Yep. So they're just hitting it out the park, and I think they're just going to keep it rolling. And there's rumors of great things to come. Titans potentially. Yes. Titanfall type situations. Mechs, just crazy things. New heroes, guns. They have unlimited potential with that game, and I think it's just going to keep growing. In my opinion, I think it's here to stay. I think it's just going to be in the big three per se, because right now I think there's just three main players in the battle royale genre: PUBG, Fortnite, Apex Legends. Call of Duty, I think, is kind of falling off. I don't know how long that's going to stay relevant. I think the next Call of Duty has been confirmed to not have a battle royale, so we'll see what happens in that market. But I think Apex Legends is here to stay, and then we have the new Battlefield 5 battle royale.
Yeah, and that looks fantastic. I got to be honest, it looks good.
Yep. I'm going to be playing it. I'm not going to lie. I have the game. Why not? Right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, look, it's again, moving from one to the other, it's just another entry into a very crowded field. And each company, it has to do something different. But I agree with you. I think Apex Legends does things different enough, especially with the unique characters, right? Like, each character is so different. They have they have their own subset of moves and specials. And, obviously bigger and more things are coming. Obviously they're gonna come out with another map, I'm assuming very soon, maybe in the next battle pass that launches. We're going to get a new character outside of the 7 that are available, 9 that are available now. It's a total of 8 originally, and now you have Octane added to make the 9th one. And it's just going to be an ever-growing. It just hit fans the right way. I mean, Fortnite in its own right is very, very different. They do things, and of course the kids like it. It's free. And free if you just play the game, but we know a lot of kids. But like, for instance, my nephew Daniel, the last time I spoke with him, he had 71 outfits. Salty, and yeah, he's a great kid. He's a A student in school. He deserves it. But just do the math: 71 times $20. It's a lot of money. So yeah. But you know what? Let's move on to that next subject. And I know immediately you're gonna dig this. Friday we have a big release. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. And I know that you are like the creme de la creme when it comes to Souls type games. Mm-hmm. And even though I'm not a Souls guy, I'm terrible at them. I'll be the first one to admit I've played them all and I suck. But it is a day one purchase for me. There's no doubt about it. I sent a video to you in the DM, the launch trailer, one of the last launch trailers. And, I was already hyped for the game. That really blew my mind. It was kind of like a vid doc where they showed, what he was, how he got the arm, what it means to him when he dies. It was a very, very interesting video. First of all, Are you a day one buyer on this, and how awesome do you think this game is going to do?
Yeah, I'm a day one player for this, and it's going to be amazing. I think this game's going to be up there for Game of the Year, honestly, because it's been, man, when they were doing the trailer, it's been nominated for like 50 different awards already for just a lot of different things, and From Software is just approaching this in a way where it's not like it, because you hear Souls like, and that's used across the board. Like you could say, you know, Dead Cells is Souls like in certain ways, and blah blah blah. They use the term in for a lot of different video games, but I think that they're doing a lot of different things in this game to set it apart from the Souls franchise and even Bloodborne, because with that grappling hook with his arm, because his arm, in the beginning it gets chopped off, you know, spoiler.
Spoiler, he loses a hand.
He wakes up and he has this bionic arm or whatever. You're going to be able to traverse vertically up and then kind of study your enemies. So that in itself just changes the game, because you're not able to do any of that in Bloodborne or Souls. The Dark Souls series is more of a slow burn type of a game. Shields, slower combat. Bloodborne is faster. So in that respect, it's going to be more like Bloodborne, because you're not going to be having these big shields, and the combat's going to be more fluid. But at the same time, it's going to be punishing. They said just there's a like a revive mechanic, because that's why it's called Shadows Die Twice.
Yes,
you actually get revived twice, I think, and then you're dead permanently. But you can use that mechanic to your advantage, actually, because if you get killed by one of the enemies, they're going to think you're dead, so they start walking away and thinking you're done. You revive. You could use that to stealth kill an enemy or do something like that. Stealth mechanics are going to be big in this game.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. You know, you can use your hat. It's like a fan-like Raiden type looking hat, but it could be a shield.
It looks great, dude.
Your hand could be used to like buff your sword with flames. Crazy stuff. There's insane stuff. It's based more in reality in Japan. The Japan setting is awesome, because you could see like the cherry blossoms and the colors and the architecture of the buildings. That stuff is awesome. They said it's still going to have mystical elements, so they're not taking that away. But like Bloodborne and Dark Souls are just grotesque. Like they have some grotesque enemies. It's kind of a darker aesthetics for the way the game looks, but this one is more, there's different environments. There's going to be mystical enemies, but it's going to be based in reality a little bit more with the enemy types. So it's going to be amazing, man. I can't wait to review this game. I'm going to spend the most time I've ever spent on a review, so just get ready for that. I think this is going to be amazing for gamers. I know Mooch is excited for this as well.
Yeah, no, Luco also. Big shout out to her. She's also a big Souls fan, beaten that numerous times. I know she's looking forward to it. Real quick before I continue with this topic, I because I get so crazy with a lot of stuff that's coming out. I have to apologize first. I said to him thank you in the chat personally, but I want to thank him on the air. Chaos Theory dropped a $5 super chat, and that's amazing, and that is greatly appreciated. He is a big fan. I'm a big fan of his. He's here almost all the time supporting the channel. So thank you, dude. I greatly appreciate that. But you know what? In this video that I sent you, one of the big things with Sekiro was the blocking and the parry system. Salty. It is going to be a big deal. Now, if you know or not, even though I'm not a Souls fan, I played the shit out of Neo on the PS4. I loved it. Neo 2 is on its way. It should be, hopefully it's releasing this year. I'm pretty sure it's still going to stay exclusive. There has been talk about it eventually coming to the Xbox One. We'll see. But like I said from the beginning, if Sekiro plays anything like it, and it looks like it does, I'm really going to enjoy this game. This is a game that I'm probably going to try and beat. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm interested. It's going to be, I think, right before the game is even out, it's already being considered From Software's newest and best thing that they've released since Bloodborne. And I think that this is going to be a series that's going to continue on well into the next generation. But you know what? Let's move on to the next topic, Salty. And you know what? Talking about games, game developers that have been around for a while, Remedy has long built a reputation of compelling action games with experimental storytelling and strong character leads. And we've seen that in Quantum Break. We've seen that in Alan Wake, and they have a game coming out that's multi-platform called Control. And I sent you a video of it. I watched it. They released a trailer a couple of days ago. This is what the developer had to say about Remedy's new action thriller called Control. It's less of a self-narration and more of what's going on in her mind as a female protagonist. Like what she's thinking to herself. And then this is one of the developers, Mags, is talking. We've tried to cut back on the amount of times it does that, but being really strategic about it, meaning the movement and how she can use the powers. We get a lot of insight into Jessie's character that way because she's learning to be quite closed down and keep a lot of things close to her chest. Now, again, there's they had one more other thing I want to read, another excerpt from the interview. Sometimes when you're having a conversation with another character, it's almost like there are three people present in the room. Creative director Sam Lake had to say. We have Jessie who says things out loud. We have the other character replying, and then we have Jessie on a level of VO commenting or revealing to us how she's really feeling. It's almost like she has a dual personality, which I find to be extremely interesting. Salty, are you excited to play Control? And here's another question. Besides that, is it me, or does this really look like it could have just been Quantum Break 2 with a different character?
Oh, without a doubt. You look at this and it's like someone copying your homework and they changed a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
It's just man, it looks like Quantum Break to me, to be honest. And the powers are different, but who was I talking to? I think it was Ashtray. We're talking about Quantum Break, and we were talking about Rise and Sunset Overdrive and everything like that. And I was just like, man, this kind of puts a fork in Quantum Break too, because it's like Control looks so similar, and it's all dependent. So what happens with this game is either Control does very well and Remedy makes another game for that, or Control bombs, and then it just kind of makes it where Quantum Break 2 doesn't want to come out because it looks so similar. So it's kind of a bad situation for the people that want to see a Quantum Break 2. But as far as Control goes, I enjoyed Quantum Break, but at the same time, the gameplay mechanics were kind of a little bit wonky to me.
I would agree. Yeah.
So when you break it down, I enjoyed the story more than I enjoyed the gameplay. So it's all dependent on how well the story's done. And I know Remedy loves to do a good story, so I'm not really doubting that. I'm just not the biggest Remedy fan, to be honest with you. We'll see what they're doing with this game, but I think it has potential. But honestly, if I was a betting man, and I love to do the whole analytics thing, I just don't think I don't see it selling very well, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be one of those things where it might be a good game, but it just doesn't sell that well. Kind of like Metro, where it's kind of a title that it kind of just gets swept under the rug. I know that Metro did very well for their standards per se. It sold better than the other two previous titles, but I don't see Control just selling gangbusters, but that's just me,
To be honest with you, this is not trying to make this into a Microsoft thing. It would be great if that was in Game Pass day and date, right? I mean, like, I know it's a third party, all right? I know it's Remedy doing multi-plat, but because of what you're talking about, maybe it not selling as well as it probably should be. I mean, we don't know. The game could bomb, but if it turns out to be a good game like Metro was fantastic. Not a lot of people bought it. Not a lot of people played it, and that's a shame because the game Metro itself deserved more of a fan base. And if this game turns out to be anything like Quantum Break, where as long as they could fix that wonkiness you're talking about, that movement wonkiness, make it into a modern action thriller, added with the powers and the story, because Remedy, they tell amazing stories, right? Like Alan Wake, whether you liked it or not, was an incredible story. Quantum Break 2 in itself was fantastic. The story was really, really well told throughout the movies. I know someone in the chat just said, was it wrong to Thanaros in the chat says, is it wrong to say that I like the TV show better than the actual game? No, it's not. And we're laughing. You like what you like. You're entitled. You bought the game. If you enjoyed one aspect more than the other, while other people the opposite, well, I mean, that's just, you know, it's your personal opinion, so there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, I'm interested to see what they do. I hope Remedy does good. It's one of those companies that have been around for a really long time, Salty, and, you know, you hate to see them come out with this game and it bombs and then they close the studio. Because then if they do, we're definitely not getting a Quantum Break 2. We're definitely not getting a reboot or you know, another story into Alan Wake, who I thought was an amazing character. It would be sad. So again, if you're a fan of Remedy, get out there when this game launches this year and support the company and buy it. But let's move on to the next one. You know, speaking of companies that have been around a long time, Anthem, the Anthem launch was, according to a story that I pulled, the head, Casey Hudson said, and I quote, "It was a rougher launch than expected." I mean, that's, I think that's, you know, I think we can all agree that it was a rough, you know, rough launch for it. But, you know, coming out publicly, Salty, and saying this, I think it's good for the franchise as well as BioWare themselves. Because, you know, when you talk about BioWare, we know that they're immediately in bed with EA, right? They're part of EA, and EA, like we talked earlier, they're the corporate slaves. They're the, you know, they're the corporate monster. You know, the wheel that just crushes everything in front of it. And there's a lot of reason not to like EA. You know, they do some really shitty things. There's no doubt about it. But this is what BioWare had to say on the matter concerning Anthem. In a post-launch update with the BioWare blog, Casey Hudson says it was a rougher launch than expected and says that the studio was ready for the possibility that unexpected issues might arise. In a broader sense, he said that the degree of the problems didn't become apart until the scale of players had increased. And that was the studio, and the studio shared that they were, you know, they were hurt more so, not that the game had problems, but that the community was disappointed. A lot of people were looking forward to this game. I certainly was one of them. I still am going to be a game I'm going to play, but I'm going to come back to it when it's fully baked. That's just me. It came out at a time where I had Crackdown, I had Metro, I had a Resident Evil, I had so many games. And I knew I was going to get, neck deep in the Division 2. I didn't want to put my time and effort into a game that had problems. I already had put 12 hours into it between the alpha, the beta, and and I didn't want to do it anymore. I put about 2 hours into the full release, Salty, and I wanted to kind of take a step back. Now, in your opinion, now you have your own channel, you have your own show, and you do a lot of these, just as much news as I do. In your opinion, as a content creator, do you think it was right for Casey Hudson to get in front of this and say, hey, listen, we understand there was a problem and we were disappointing in ourselves because we disappointed the fans?
Yeah, man, they've been transparent. I think that it's important for Casey and everybody else to be honest with themselves,
Yeah.
Okay, so with Anthem, it has its issues, right? But the core thing, the most important thing in a video game, one of the most important things, there's two arguably, but game mechanics, if game mechanics are spot on and a game is fun to play, I think you have a great foundation. And I think Anthem can resolve a lot of the issues that it's experiencing, because the number one prime example of how a game, there's lots of examples actually of games that release and they're not well received for whatever reasons. They don't meet expectations, and then they continue to support the game, and then it becomes something special. So let's talk about No Man's Sky, right? It couldn't have had a worse launch. They stayed at it, and now look at the game, right? They're actually going to be putting out another update, and it actually was so well received for that huge update that came out recently that people were just talking, gushing over the game. I loved what they did with that. And then you look at the Division 2, the Division 1, like 95% of the players dropped off within a month, right?
Yeah.
And it had huge issues all over the place, but they kept at it, kept improving the game. And then look at the Division 2. It's one of the best looter shooters of this generation. So I think Anthem will be fine, because you look at the sales numbers, you look at MPD, it's #1 up there. It's breaking records. It's the best-selling IP for BioWare since Mass Effect. What was it, 2? One of the games up there. It's been since a very long time that BioWare's had the success with sales. So it's all in the support, and I think they're going to get out their content to update this game with strongholds, and I heard that they're going to be doing armor drops, which is very necessary for this game. So don't count this team out, man. People saying that BioWare is going to get closed down. No, they're not.
No,
like,
that's
stop
not
it with
happen.
all that. BioWare is going to be fine. EA is going to support the game because it's a game as a service. This game's going to be fine. It's just going to take some time to kind of rectify some of the issues. As far as Fallout 76, that's not going to happen with that game. That's the only game that's just not going to be redeemed when it comes to giving it some time. So yeah, Anthem's going to be good, man. It'll be okay.
You know, I mean, listen, what I have to say right away is what people have to remember, Salty, is, you know, and I agree with you. I think, and not only do I think Anthem is going to be fine, I think it's going to come back in a big way. I mean, look, you talked about it with the Division 1, right? But you know what we don't talk about normally is how Destiny 1 and 2 launched, right? 1 launched, it was as vanilla as they came, right? You know, the first raid came out, people were done with it very quickly. It was, you know, very much of the same thing. And even though Bungie is Bungie, right? You know, they're as big as BioWare, in my opinion. They're both storied franchise, you know, developers, and they've released storied franchises to match, you know, in the you know, the history of both companies. You know, Destiny 1 did not get redemption, in my opinion, until Taken King. Now, the Taken King came out years after the initial release. We had a lot of, you know, really crummy and crappy, you know, the DLCs until the Taken King came out, and it literally changed what I thought of Destiny. I mean, I love Destiny 1, even in its vanilla format, but the Taken King really just took it to another level. Now, you released Destiny 2, and what happened? The same thing, right, Salty? The DLCs came out. They're very underwhelming. A lot of complaints. You know, Activision was trying to get in there with their, you know, their money scandals, trying to, you know, suck, you know, get blood from a stone. And then, you know, we know what happened later on with the last update for Destiny 2, the Forsaken. It fixed a lot of the issues. So I'm right now, I would not count out, like you were saying, BioWare. I think that Casey Hudson is leading the charge. He understands that there were shortcomings of what people expected. He said publicly on numerous occasions that he was saddened by the disappointment of the fans. Like, no one talks like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a guy that actually gives a shit. That not just because you did. And here's the thing: it won NPDs for February, right? It was the best-selling game, so people bought it. But even though it made money, hearing him say that to me tells me that they are dedicated to make sure that this game is right.
Sorry, my dog was attacking me.
Oh, no, it's okay, dude. No problem.
Yeah. They're gonna make it right, man. And I know there's some people out there that hate EA and they hate this and that, but I don't think we should wish ill will on a game.
Oh no, don't do that.
It's attached to EA and whatever. I think this game's gonna be fine, honestly, Boom. So.
Yeah, well, listen, you know, talking about companies, you know, we moved from EA. We're gonna talk about Activision now. And I know that there's going to be some boos in the chat, but yesterday, Call of Duty Mobile was announced. I sent you the trailer. I don't know. I think it's 42 seconds or something like that. It's not a very long trailer. It looks like a 360 game, but you know what? For what it is, it's mobile. You know, it's funny. Just like PUBG, just like Fortnite. To me, this seems like like an absolute cash grab. For you know, for Activision. We know what they're known for. But you know, I mean, we're not gonna spend a lot of topic on this because it's Call of Duty Mobile. I mean, who's really gonna play it? I don't know. I mean, I don't play Call of Duty now at home with, you know, a 65-inch 4K TV, so I'm not gonna play it on mobile. But I'm sure some people will, especially the kids. I mean, in your opinion, what do you think about this after watching the 42-second video? You know, I mean, is this, again, really going back to the question, is this something that they're serious about, or is this just, you know, another cash grab for Activision?
I think they're serious about it. The mobile market is just hot right now, making money. It might not be for gamers like us, hardcore gamers, but it looked pretty decent as far as what they were showing gameplay wise. It just looks like a Call of Duty game. straight up on mobile. And if you look at the younger generation, they've grown up with phones and touchscreens and stuff like that, so they're comfortable with that situation. And I'm not going to hate on them if they want to play some Call of Duty on mobile. What this is gonna be filled with is microtransactions all over the place, you know. So
yes, it is.
It's gonna be a free to play game, but I mean, with free comes a cost, especially with Activision. They own what is it, Candy Crush, I think, is one of their main titles on mobile, and that makes them hella money with microtransactions. So I think that that's just a priority for them because they know how much money they're making off of Candy Crush. They're like, hey, let's take our most valuable franchise and let's put it on mobile, because you see the same thing with Fortnite. We see it with PUBG. We see a lot of these franchises that are being successful on consoles and PC. They port it over to mobile and it's making ridiculous amounts of money. So it just makes sense for Activision to do this. Now, if you agree with it or not, I think it's just the way of the beast. I think that a lot of these franchises are going to have mobile versions of their game. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a Halo, some kind of a Halo game on mobile, cell phones eventually as well. Like, I was joking.
Ain't so salty.
I'm trying to tell you guys. I'm trying to prepare you. I think eventually we're gonna have that as well, man.
Oh my God! Well, real quick before I continue with this story, I have to say thank you to two people. First of all, Philly Eagle with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says some of the highest touted games had shitty launches. If you're a fan, your fandom will be rewarded. If you're not a fan, just play something else. And that makes that's a great point, dude. And I also have to say a big thank you to Luke Taylor in the chat with the $2 super chat. Thank you so much for that. That's outstanding. He says Call of Duty Mobile on Switch. I don't know, man. I mean, it could work possibly, but look, let me just say this. This move does not surprise me. Tomorrow's Xbox Factor podcast is going to be an epic one. I know it's a shameless plug, and I know it has nothing to do with this particular show. But Salty and I, we talk all the time privately. We're numbers guys. We say it all the time. And obviously, a lot of people, and Salty, I got about 50 messages from people through DM, through Xbox Live, and different other forms of social media about how I reacted on last week's Crossfire. Now, I come to these shows. I don't look for a fight, guys. I come in peace. I just want to play. I just want to play games, and I want to just enjoy talking about them. And the Crap Gamer and I kind of went toe to toe. I think I made my point clear. But I'm throwing it out there because I want people to tune in tomorrow to the Xbox Factor, because I spent 3 days over the weekend going over logistics, going over numbers, and breaking down this topic, because sometimes it's difficult to talk about it because there's a lot of stuff. Well, I broke it down in a way where it's probably going to be about a 30-minute, maybe 20-minute segment, but it's going to shut down everyone's ideology about why Microsoft is going the direction they are going in, and I've actually heard Crap Gamer say it. Phil's the wrong leader for the brand. I'm going to shut all that down live on the air. So if you're interested, tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. the new time because of the time change. But you know what? Let's continue with this one. Call of Duty is going to make a lot of money for them, Activision, and I'm interested to see where it goes. If they support it, like I think they're going to do, like you said, you think it's going to be big for them, then it should be okay. Again, I just don't want it thrown out there. People play it, they buy microtransactions, and they don't get updates and stuff. I don't know if they would do that to the franchise. I think they're going to go in all in on this. But Salty, you brought something up in the DM. This is a bit of a sad subject for me personally, because I'm such a big fan. And the question, I mean, this is Crackdown 4 ever going to happen? Well, folks, I got news for you. After the February NPD's the numbers dropped, Crackdown 3 did not even make it into the top 20 for February on the month that it launched. Like, if you tell me 3 months from now it's not in the top 20, I say I hear you. But if you can't get into the top 20 on a month that you launched, man, it saddens me. Say what you want about Crackdown. It is and still will always be, to me anyway, is hashtag fun. I enjoyed the game. But you know, in truth, Salty, by all rights, it shouldn't exist, right? I mean, you know, it had a massive amount of delays. It was shifted between developers several times, and even though talking about it now, I'm still surprised that it released. I enjoyed myself, you know, and I want to get your take on it, but with Crackdown not showing up in the top 20, and this is the black eye for Microsoft. There's no doubt about it. Do you think we get a Crackdown 4 done the right way, or is the franchise is dead?
Short answer, we're not going to get a Crackdown 4. So here's the deal. I enjoyed Crackdown 3, a very enjoyable experience. I didn't think I was going to like it, but here's the deal. Microsoft shot themselves in the foot with this franchise. It was a mishandling of epic proportions for this game, and they only have themselves to blame. They mishandled this game in a epic proportion. They pushed the multiplayer, which is a never was. They were pushing the cloud power. It's just one big fail after another. If they had put the right team on the job and had a focus from the beginning, they could have got this game out within a couple years. It would have been well received because it wouldn't have been delayed so much, and et cetera, et cetera. And maybe we would be on the way to another Crackdown 4, like Crackdown 4 would be in the works right now. But the problem is they don't own Sumo Digital, and until they snatch up that developer, I definitely don't see a Crackdown 4 coming out, because Microsoft wants to own their studios. They want to have the, you know, control over what's going on with that. And we've seen that with the acquisitions of these new studios. They want the titles going into Game Pass to be under their first party control. And if that's just not happening, it's not happening. Like, they've had opportunities to do a Sunset Overdrive 2, a Rise, Quantum Break 2, but those are all second party situations, and they've said no to all those. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so with Sumo Digital making this game and it not selling, not even cracking the 20 top MPD, is just a colossal failure, because it speaks volumes on a lot of different ways, because Microsoft themselves have been saying things, and I believe what they're saying for the most part, but it doesn't work. Like for Game Pass, right? It increases the amount of players that are playing your game, the activity in your game, and actually increases the amount of sales that go on. But this did not happen with Crackdown. It did not crack the top 20. This is the exact reason why they didn't market the game. Microsoft isn't stupid, okay?
Yeah.
They know there's ways to track the way games are going to sell, how popular they're going to be. It's kind of like movies, right? They make estimates of pre-sales and how much money it's going to make in the opening weeks. It's like the Solo movie. Like, you knew issues were happening with that movie.
Yeah,
and you knew it wasn't going to sell well. They just have people are crunching numbers all the time, folks. They knew that Crackdown was dead in the water, right? They knew the writing was on the wall. So of course they got a little bit of stuff out there, and they try to, you know, kind of smooth it over as much as possible. But the game was just, if it was under, like if the cloud wasn't involved, I feel like they would have canceled Crackdown with all the problems that they had. But since they're invested so much in the cloud aspects of the game, they continued to put money into it and kind of save face. But it's just, I don't know, it's egg in the face, and it's unfortunate because this game is fun. I enjoyed it, but we're not going to see a Crackdown 4.
Yeah, that's to me anyway, Salty. That's sad, and I agree with you. Until Sumo Digital was actually purchased, where all they were working on was Crackdown 4. If that happened, then it looks like it's not going to happen. I mean, again, listen, you know, Phil Spencer has said that the Crackdown series is important to him. It's one of his favorite, you know, franchises. Now, I mean, he's saying this, and I take Phil at his word. He has no reason to lie about that. But it is disappointing. It is a solid game. Yeah. Is it anyone's game of the year 2019? No. Issues regarding the you know, the destructibility and wrecking zone. Yeah, you know, not being able to add your friends. It was inundated with lots of problems, but at the same time, you know, I played Crackdown 3 for its single player. I played Crackdown 2 and 1 for its single player. I enjoyed those, and I enjoyed the shit out of 3. You know, hearing this when you sent this to me in DM, I was gutted, because I was like, the minute you see this, you know that no one's buying it. That means, why would you? I mean, like Salty. I mean, we're both analytic guys. If you're a corporation and you put out a product and no one buys it, do you make another one? No,
no, you don't.
No, you don't. So I mean, it's not good.
Yeah, because a lot of people are going to say, well, it's Game Pass this and Game Pass that. It's like, sorry, folks. I mean, there's Game Pass numbers, but there's also sales numbers.
Sales numbers still matter.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, real quick, I have to say, Michelle Alexandria with the $2 super chat. Thank you so much for that. That is extremely kind to you. But you know what, Salty? We have some other breaking news that just released regarding the Nintendo Switch, which seems to be in the news left and right, which is incredible. Let's talk about it, Salty. Now, again, this is breaking news. And I just saw this on Cadence of Hyrule, which is a crypt of the Necro Dancer featuring The Legend of Zelda, is releasing this spring, and it looks to be a traditional Zelda type game. I mean, look, we already know that we got a big Zelda game coming out at the end of the year, and it's basically a reboot of the Game Boy Color. Now we're hearing that Cadence of Hyrule, sorry, is releasing. What are your takes on that, dude?
Well, I heard the rumor that they're going to be releasing 2 Zelda games this year, and I was like, what? Like, how is that possible? But hey, I mean, proof's in the pudding. This developer that they're putting on this project is very well received as an indie.
Yes.
And I think this game looks phenomenal from what I've seen briefly on Twitter. I'm going to look more into it. But what they're trying to do with the Zelda franchise is they're trying to put out different versions of the game, right? We're getting that remake of the classic. We're getting this game by indie studio, and then I've heard things about the Breath of the Wild 2 sequel. That's in the works as well. So it's one of those franchises that's really well received, really beloved, and I think that you can do different things there. If you're not releasing the exactly same game and you're kind of changing it up, you can release it in different forms and it will be received well. See, the thing is this is what they were trying to do with Halo Wars and some other things, but then Halo Wars didn't sell well. I think that Microsoft still needs to try to do what they can to kind of expand out, kind of like the Nintendo way with the Zelda property is, you know, you need to do as much as you can to capitalize on your foundation franchises. And I think Nintendo just knows what their foundation is and what they stand for in their product, and they can push out titles like this and it works because they get the correct teams on there. So I think if Microsoft followed suit with that, they could do big things with the Halo franchise. I know it's not like directly correlated, but I think that, you know, I'm a big Xbox guy. I think that you could look at what is successful in other companies and try to pattern yourself after that. And just because like Spartan Lock wasn't well received and this and that, or Halo Wars 2 didn't really sell well, I still think you could do stuff with the franchises that you have just like this and get more games out to your fan bases.
Smaller titles, basically.
You know, smaller titles. Yeah, like different things. Try new things, you know, like the possibilities are out there. So I think it's cool, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm excited because it's Zelda, right? I'm an old school cat. I play all the 8-bit Zeldas, beat them all. I'm going to be buying this day one. Some other Switch news that just popped up in the same thread. Blaster Master 02 is releasing today. Now, if you don't know what Blaster Master was, that was an old school NES game, hard as balls. But it was a great game. Well, Blaster Master 0, which was kind of like a reboot of the franchise, was a day one release with the Switch. I bought it. I didn't beat it. I got pretty far into it. I absolutely loved it. If you're interested, Blaster Master 02 is out today. And here's another one. This is another title that I think not only still has legs. It's an old school side-scrolling 4-player beat 'em up that deserves more fans playing it. I'm hoping that we're eventually going to get a sequel, but Castle Crashers Remastered coming to the Switch as well as the PS4. I'm not downplaying that, but I want to talk about the Switch version because, like we were saying earlier, it is. I mean, this is a system You know what? Let me just rewind for a second. First of all, if you are a Nintendo fan, you lived through the plague that was known as the Wii U, right? The system had great first-party games, some original stuff in there, but it suffered tremendously with third-party support, right? No one wanted to support it because of the Play School kind of a controller. You know, it was a Wii, but it really wasn't. It was a little more powerful. It was mishandled terribly. So people wanted to stay away from it like a nuclear blast, right? Like, stay away from there. You're going to get radiated. Now you look at the Switch, everyone and their mother is putting games onto this, and to see smaller titles like the Hyrule title, like Blaster Master 02, and now Castle Crashers Remastered, that, Salty, is a good game that, you know, because it's on the Switch, because it's portable, you can play with your wife and your daughter and have a blast.
Yep. Man, I can't. Oh my God, dude. I'm just so happy. Like, here's the thing. Who was it? Jez was talking about this, right? He recently picked up a Switch, and the news that's dropping, he's just like, man, Nintendo's going to make me a Nintendo fanboy, you know, eventually, like soon enough. And I'm like, trust me, man. I grew up in the Nintendo ecosystem with Xbox and Nintendo, but they're hitting it out of the park, people. I said this before, you know, all the analysts came out there, Nostradamus, Salty over here. I said, you know, 2019 was going to be the year of the Switch, all right? They're going to continue this upward climb, right?
Yes.
Continue the domination. 2019 is going to be crazy for the Switch, man. And their indies are second to none, man. I'm consistently getting indie codes, and I've been putting out on my Twitter the Salty indie spotlight, because I don't have enough time to do a traditional review on these games, which I'd love to if I had all the time in the world, but I don't. So I try to get these games out there that I try with these codes, and then I show you video of it, or, you know, if you have questions, then I would talk to you about it. There's so many options for indie titles out there on the Switch, and they're perfect for portable access because they're games that you could take on the go and play them and enjoy them. And this is just more and more examples of the stuff that they're getting out content-wise. There's always constant content coming out on the Nintendo Switch, first party, third party. It's amazing. It's a good time to be a Switch owner. Like I said before, I think the perfect combination is a Nintendo Switch and an Xbox One X. I think that's phenomenal. If you're going to be a two-system owner, if you want to own all systems, then do that as well. But I'm just super excited. I don't know if my wallet is super excited, but we'll see how that goes, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this has been an incredible show, almost at the 90-minute mark. Real quick, I just want to just reminisce a little bit. As of today's date, Sea of Thieves is officially a year old. Now, I know you're a fan. I know you're a fan. I know you're,
yes.
Yeah, you're a fan of the game. You sent me something in DM. I actually had forgot it, but I want to talk about it because it's important. You know, Sea of Thieves for Rare was a big undertaking, right? You know, this is a storied franchise that was reduced to making you know, characters for the Kinect. Right, and they finally got their shot to do something that they wanted. Microsoft let them go crazy. Sure, the game again in 2018 wasn't anyone's game of the year, but you cannot discount how evolved the game has been since day one to where it is 1 year later. And I think that we have to talk about that for a few seconds before we get out of here. Is where they were, where they are, and where they're going. It seems like it's all up and up and up, but I want to get your opinion on this. You know, in the 1 year that you've played it, and I think you've played it with your daughter. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's played it.
Yeah, she's addicted to that game,
and she loves it, right? I mean, the colors are unbelievable.
Yep.
It's like a Pixar game.
Yep.
I mean, a Pixar movie as a game. Again, not a game for Boom, and I'm okay with that. You know, until they release the single player stuff, then I'll get involved. But what are your takeaways from Sea of Thieves for the first 365 days, and where do you see the franchise moving forward?
Man, this game's got crapped on so much in the beginning of its life cycle, but man, it's crazy how much topics we talk about at night when I'm playing with my friends late at night. We were talking about this topic, and I was like, we were playing Sea of Thieves last night, and I honestly could play the Division 2, which I'm loving and I'm like addicted to. But Titan hit me up and he said, "Hey, do you want to go play Sea of Thieves?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, let's do it." It was right after gaming. After Dark on News Channel. Shout out to him. You guys should check that out. Man, we were just having so much fun doing the pirate shit. Like, we took a sloop. It was me and him, right? And we went to it was like a stronghold. It's like a skeleton fort. And we got like, I don't know, 15 explosive barrels in this little sloop. And we loaded them up into the sloop. I was like, if anybody comes on here, they're going to just blow our asses up. Like, they just hit it once with the sword and our ship's gone. But then we fought 2 skeleton ships, and then we ended up going to this bigger ship, and we sank a brigantine with a full crew, stole all their treasure, did the most pirate stuff ever, had fun. This game is completely different than when it launched, because it launched with not a lot of content. It was kind of boring, actually, because there wasn't a lot going on. But now there's roaming megalodons, there's the Kraken, there's skeleton ships roaming around, there's they just did a double XP event, double gold event, which was amazing. They're consistently adding to this game. Rare hired multiple people.
Yes.
They have multiple teams working on this game. So it's one of the, I think it's going to be one of the franchises moving forward that's going to be one of the most successful for Xbox, because when you look at these games and these new IP that Microsoft has made, there hasn't been a lot that they created that you can say that is going to be around for the long haul. I talked about this before, Sunset Overdrive, Rise, Quantum Break, all these new IP, they're not going to get sequels, but Sea of Thieves is going to be continued to be supported, and we're going to see a Sea of Thieves 2. This game's going to be one of those franchises going forward that's going to be a pillar franchise. I'd love to see it on the Switch. I think it'd be perfect there, but I don't know if they can get that to work. Crossplay would be amazing with that, and to have Rare back, not with Nintendo, but on the device.
But still releasing on a Nintendo platform. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yep.
So, and then you could think of what they could do with that. They could put potentially Donkey Kong events in there, or just crazy shit, right? Like, just to kind of throw back some throwback events. I'd love to see some land-based animals that they could put on there, like a huge crab, and then maybe sit it on top of a gold chest all over, and then have some kind of a raid experience where people try to attack the crab and then steal the treasure. It's a fun game. PvP, the update's going to be coming out for that. They did this Reaper's Run event where you put your flag up and people can see you on the map. That was super fun. So anyway, I could talk for days on this, but it's one of my most played games. My daughter loves it. I appreciate the work that Rare put into this game because it's unique and it's new and it's fresh. It's not like they copied all these other games and put out a title that everybody else has done. They tried something new.
No, this was new and original, dude. Yeah.
And I appreciate it. So I'm excited for the future.
Well, listen, real quick before we get out of here, if you're interested in where a lot of this Nintendo news just came from, they had a direct that was going on during the show. Our good friend Nintendo Direct was doing a live stream, so get over to his channel, check it out, or head over to YouTube if you want to find out what Nindies are coming out for 2019. Of course, we talk about, the one thing I enjoy about this particular show is but not just being partnered with Salty, is he's a big Nintendo fan like me. So, you're not going to hear about Nintendo so much on Crossfire, or even like the Saltiest Gaming. You don't really hear a lot about it on even Breakfast with Boom. It's just, it's a much older crowd. So this is a smaller but growing program. I mean, we had almost 140 something people watching live. So big deal for that. Thank you. Yep. I enjoy talking about Nintendo. Again, if it's not your bag, I hear you, but it is a platform. It is doing well, and I'm glad to see that it's growing. But Salty, this was 90 plus minutes once again of absolutely incredible topics. I think we hit 13 or 14 again, which is outrageous. But listen, you know,
and
you have
breaking stories
and breaking news on
Yeah.
top of that, which is always great. Very rarely does that happen. You know, you have a big show coming up on Thursday, and tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter. But more importantly, tune into your amazing podcast on Thursday, and of course, your outstanding YouTube channel.
Okay. We did a live stream yesterday. It was just kind of off the fly for the GDC event. It was cool, man. I had live commentary interactions with the crowd. I love doing those kind of shows. You never know if they're going to get immediately demonetized or not. This one hasn't, so we'll see what happens. But I did a post-game reaction / podcast thing, solo podcast, about a half an hour long. So I have that time stamped. You can check that out if you want to get my takes on immediate reaction. I haven't had time to actually dissect things, which I will for the show tomorrow for the Saltiest Gaming podcast. Like I said, Gaming After Dark, our good friend Noof Nukem, he's trying to get that off the ground. Check out his channel. He's a panel member on the Saltiest Gaming podcast. We're trying some great things there. I'm trying some new gifts, putting up, you know, those. We have a great intro song that Titan did.
Oh, that was great, dude. That was great.
So the show is evolving in an awesome way. So yeah, that's my baby right there. The Saltiest Gaming podcast is the proudest thing that I've done, and it's just, I love it. So check that out. Twitter is where you can find me. Social media, we're almost at 3,000 followers there. We're going to be doing a giveaway, which I'm going to get the details out today. So stay tuned for that on my Twitter account. Let you know how you can win a copy of Mortal Kombat 11.
Nice.
Yobi Dren is going to be providing those copies. It's 2 copies of Mortal Kombat 11. So we'll let you know about that. It's been a great episode, Boom. It flew by, and I appreciate working with you, and it's fun every Wednesday. I wake up, like I said, I was listening to some Queen and getting ready, drinking my coffee, and I'm just happy to be able to do this. You muted? Am I muted? Hello? Hello? Are we still on the air, folks? Hello? Maybe Boom got snatched up by aliens. Can you guys still hear us? Good talk. So anyway, if you guys can hear me, there he is. There he is.
Yeah. For some reason, it said that it sent me a message saying that it was offline, and it's still live. So very, very strange. Once again, thank goodness this happened at the beginning of the show. I'd have been mad as hell. Real quick, a small piece of programming news for tomorrow. Dave Sweeps, which I know, Salty, you've entered some of their contests.
Yep.
And I've actually won a $50 gift card from them, which was amazing. Did a big surprise, and I didn't know about it. I looked, I saw a message on my Xbox Live account, and I clicked it, and it says you have been game gifted The Division 2, and I'm like, wait a second. And I look at who gave it to me, and it says Dave Sweep. So I contacted him.
I think you're cutting out again. Hello? Boom, you there? So anyway, not sure what's going on with the stream, but yeah, he's talking about he's going to be giving.
Hello?
Yeah, he's cutting out. If you guys can hear me, he's talking about Dave Sweeps, and they're going to be giving away a copy of the Division 2 on Breakfast with Boom, I believe. So stay tuned for that. It's been a great episode of Gaming News at Noon with Salty and Boom for sure. I'm sure he would say that too if he could. Hit the like button. Let's get 80 likes on the way out here. We appreciate all you guys. Make sure you share this out on Twitter, because YouTube doesn't do that. If you guys can hear me, maybe you're not, maybe you can. I'm just talking to myself. But have a great day. Like I said, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell icon, and as always, stay salty and all that good stuff. And yeah, hopefully he hears me enough to end the stream.